Welcome to Cape Breton Movers and Shakers, where we have conversations with people who are doing positive things here in Cape Breton. I'm Richard Lorway, president of goCapeBreton.com. And today I'm talking with Doug Milburn, who's co-founder of Protocase and 45 Drives in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Welcome, Doug.
Thank you very much, Richard.
So you and your partner, Steve Lilly, and fellow engineer, started Protocase how many years ago now?
Oh my golly, that's a tough question. I guess we started somewhere around just 2002-ish, somewhere around there.
So just under 20 years.
That 20, pushing 20 years now.
Yeah. Okay. I remember those days, so now I'm feeling old.
They used to call me a young entrepreneur back then. So
exactly. So can you tell me about your startup? Like, what was the problem the business problem you were trying to solve, and what was your solution?
Yeah, sure. Protocase, another company. I moved back here to start up a company called Advanced Glazings Limited, and in doing that, we were innovating. We were building machinery. We were building processes. We were doing materials research as part of building that company. And before that, I was in grad school. I was doing research, and all the way back to my undergrad years, doing research and building stuff, experimental. When you do experiments, you need to build things. A lot of it's electronics in my world. There's little and big pieces of machinery, things like that. You build those, you need parts. So it's always a problem when you do that to get parts. So people think engineering is analytical. Yeah, parts of it are, but on the research end of it, it's a creative venture, and we come up with ideas about things we want to create, and then we got to go build them and make them work. And a lot of say the electronics, there's the rocket science is in the circuit boards and the wires and the power in them and things like that. End of the day, any electronic thing you have, people watch this in a computer or a phone, there's a case around it. And Stephen Lilly, my partner in another world, but me in the research world, just had all this trouble. We wanted just a simple thing like a metal box to put electronics in. Burning problem for us. We saw a better way to make them, and to make them in low quantity. I mean, you can buy them, but they're all built in quantity and they don't match. It's off the rack, not custom.
Right.
And we saw a way to make that, and so make it. We did, and other people had the problem. No. Yeah.
So I recall in those early years, you were seeing a monthly, increase in sales of like 100%, 200% per month in some months in the first year or two. Is that right?
Yes, indeed. We were, and again, when you're small, like growth of 100%, when you sold 10 hours worth of work that month, it's really, really easy to do large growth rates. And yeah, we did high growth, and ups and downs of starting a company. It's just grueling in the early years, as you'd well know.
Yeah.
Really, really difficult, and customers don't pay on time. You got to make payroll and got to find the money, and all these stories that rip our guts out. But grow, we did, right? And we started off. It was 3 people, and Steve Lilly being one of them. I wasn't full time. I was over at Advanced Glazing, so I wasn't part of it when it started. But we grew. We started off with 3 people. We looked after our customers, and they came back. They told friends. They came back. And next thing we got bigger, we got bigger, we got bigger. Now we're big now.
So at a certain point, you guys established 45 Drives, was, I guess, it's kind of like an adjacent space, and it utilizes some of your manufacturing capability. You tell us about how did 45 Drives come about?
Oh yeah, it's a fascinating story. So opportunity comes knocking every now and then. So you should be alert enough to answer it. We had a customer of ours. A customer came to us. The name of the company is Backblaze. They sell, among other things, backup computer stuff, backup for your home computer. Was their first product they came out with. Put a little utility on there over the internet, it backs up everything you have. And they needed lots of storage. And to make it economic, they realized that storage servers sold by the server industry. So we think of computers, there's a branch off that called servers, which are high powered computers for doing specific things. Storage servers were They're just going to say they're very expensive. They thought they were 10 times too expensive.
Right.
So they came up with an idea on how to make a whole different physical form factor and take various electronics in and to make a storage server that was, among other things, it was huge and per unit capacity, it was 10 times cheaper per unit capacity than what was out there. And they came to us when we first met them. They're a Silicon Valley company. We met them in their own kitchen, one of the guys' kitchens. They had a plywood model. What we did was prototyping. So we took their designs, we built first prototype, second, we probably did 30 rounds of prototype with these guys.
Right.
So eventually they developed something that they thought was a better storage server and it was way less expensive. And they did, as part of their marketing, they put out a blog, and they were very good at social media marketing. And the blog they put out basically said, you know, all those people that sell you servers, they're charging you way too much, which that's a line that gets people's attention, especially the engineering and IT people are, you know, they always think, you know, there's a line from a technical marketing guru says that they believe technology should be free, and not quite, but almost. So anyway, that got a lot of attention, and they published, well, here's how you can build your own. And we were on the list as the people who would supply you the enclosure.
Right.
And to make the story short, what happened, we started selling enclosures, but it was surprising. There was a lot of people didn't close. It was like maybe 2 in 10.
Right.
Excuse me.
So nice.
Editing. So maybe 2 in 10 would close. We'd close a sale on. So we went back, being an entrepreneur, we went back and said, there's 8 out of 10 who came here for a reason. They had a problem with some sort that they thought we might be able to fix. And we went back, and when we called them up, we said, why didn't you buy? And we got some real commonalities in the answer. The biggest one was people said, I just don't have time. Like I run, and we got a guy he was a senior IT guy in FedEx. And he said, well, this is the right idea. And I thought maybe we'll build some computers. Then he said, I shook my head and I said, we got too much stuff to do. We're too busy. I don't have time to go back and do that. And you know, you build it yourself and it's going to have reliability issues. So our last question on there was, well, if we built one for X number of dollars, tested, burned in, ready to roll, would you buy it? And the answer was, hell yes. So we said, it might be a business there. So we basically started making their design and selling them.
Right.
And then somewhere along the way, a couple companies technical people came to us from companies, you know, one of them being Netflix, and just talked to us about helping them with, you know, the computers that they buy. They get their own storage computers made. Never did any business with them. It just wasn't right. We weren't ready to do that with them. But them and a couple other telecom companies came to us who do streaming video, and they're very open about their electrical architecture, which was very, very fast. So Netflix, you buy a Netflix subscription, you know, you don't generally think about what's behind the scenes. But there's huge racks of storage service holding all their video. And then a bunch of people got to connect in, and you got these video streams coming out. And in a world like there's, I think, if I remember correctly, they're saying about 2,000 streams out of a single box.
Right. So
that's a lot of video. That's a lot of bandwidth. So, you know, you got to put some serious CPUs, motherboards, memory, software in there. Whereas our people were about archival storage, so it's slow. It goes in there and it goes to sleep. You're constantly streaming there. So what we did is we married elements of their architecture plus our own into the physical format from our other guys, and we really created a storage computer that really met the needs of the customers. The needs are subtly different. People like Backblaze, and we're now a cloud storage provider, huge, just huge racks and racks and racks for us. The eye can see of computers. So many other organizations just have a few of them, and their needs become different. And some people who are not archival, their needs are different. So that's how we got to branch out. We had all kinds of bright technical people in here in the company. It was no problem technically jumping over those hoops. So, you know, that started in, I don't know, it's probably 2007, 2008, we started that odyssey, and it's now developed into what we are now.
So combined, the two companies, how many employees are you up to now?
Oh, I think we're over 300 employees now at this point.
340. Wow.
300 and something. Yeah, and I'm not, I don't have an exact count for you, Richard.
I know it changes daily, I'm sure.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So managing a small company, which is kind of what we're used to. And by the way, I have to say, I think we talked about in a previous conversation that I can't think of another Cape Breton company started by local entrepreneurs who have come up with an idea, gone through startup and then the small business phase, and then have scaled up to the same degree that you have. So in a way, you guys are the proof in the pudding that it can be done here. So thank you for that. But my question is, so managing a company of 25 people is vastly different from managing a company of 325 people, say. So how is it different, and what have you had to do to change to effectively manage that many people?
Let me just speak to the Cape Breton thing first, Richard. I moved back here. I grew up here. Grew up by the Centennial Rink in Sydney, and went off to grad school in Ontario, undergrad in New Brunswick and grad school in Ontario, and I got to see the world, and I looked at our world back here with its crumbling economy, and always looked at this and said, this doesn't need to be, and it's like everyone kind of believed there's, like, I don't know, maybe ancient curses on the ground here and the economic ground here. And I'm going, no. This is a place we can do that. And, a bunch of us have tried at it. We've been fortunate enough that, what we did, we managed to make the right moves. So, and the right moves, your question about how you manage your company, that's part of the right moves that we managed to make,
Right.
How do we know to make those right moves? I don't know. You just try stuff, right? In a little bit of, maybe a whole bunch of luck, good effort, think it out, listen to people, and learn from others. And then, good help and a good luck get you to success. So here we are. And one of the most striking things, I started Advanced Glazings. It's me and my wife. We hired one other employee. And that other employee is still with us, by the way, which is really cool, from 1996. Anyway, and I knew nothing about managing people or hiring people or whatever else. And I'm quite amazed that he survived putting up with me. But my real ignorance at that point. But one thing I knew is I didn't know anything. Right? I knew subject matter. I didn't know this. So I just went and learned. And one thing I understood from the start, like not knowing anything when I got into it, I said, I'm gonna have to change. I got to go flow with this. And I always hear people talk about how everything changes when you get larger. When you're small, you got to do, if I called it work, when you're really small, you're doing operational work, you're doing jobs for customers. And you're guiding people while you do it. And it's seat of the pants, really, is how you do it. And small businesses run seat of your pants. You get bigger, you have to come up with systems and processes, and you have to start to standardize the way you do things. Otherwise, everything just goes all over the place, right? And people come in to work, they put in their best efforts. Sometimes it works, sometimes it won't. And when it doesn't work, a customer gets upset and it creates fires, and you just don't get anywhere. So you got to put in processes and standardize things. And when you do that, that starts to make life easier for everybody. It makes things more consistent, makes your customers happier. But something else happens, and you put these processes in and you get bigger. You can't keep your hands on them. Like, somebody has to own them at the end of the day. And I mean, there's got to be ownership by the people who use them, but somebody's got to own how they fit together and got to own, do that from top level. And as you get bigger, and there's something that, and I had read about this before I experienced it, and they said there's a wall you have to go through. It depends on the kind of business you're in. And it would be from maybe, I'm going to say, as low as 15 employees, and I've heard as high as 50 employees. I would say 25 employees when it really happened to us. When you get there, if you try to run the company the same way you did, your same management style, interact with people the same way, taking on the responsibilities and ownerships of everything, just getting people to do things, it all falls apart. And you just hit a wall, and it's really, really difficult to grow through. And here's what the answer is. One of it's process. And then the other is you have to decentralize the command structures. Centralized command structures, but the old Soviet Union doesn't work. Nova Scotia healthcare system, centralized command structures, falling apart, doesn't work. Too difficult, and not a fault of the people in there, but just too difficult to run as centralized. I mean, they're extreme examples because it's so big, but companies get that way. I've talked to, I know, actually, I know 2 or 3 people who have small renovation companies, and they related stories to me. Yeah, when I was younger, I was all full of fire, and I started hiring up a bunch of people, and I got up to be like 15 people, and oh man, it killed me. So I dropped the amount of work I took, and now there's just the 3 of us. Okay. Really,
Right.
really common story. So that's the wall, eh? Some people hit the wall and they bounce back, and they say that's not what I want to do, because like creating a growth company is not for everybody. Believe me,
Yeah.
like there's some glory to it, but good Lord, it's hard. It is
Yeah.
really, really hard. But if you want to grow through it, it becomes about culture, and it becomes about the human beings. Companies are so misunderstood, and we certainly have a history of it here, misunderstanding companies. Company, and somewhere the economists have told us the purpose of a company is to make money for its shareholders. We've all heard that, and it's kind of a sour, cold, negative view of things. And I know you, as an entrepreneur, you'd understand that it's just
As a
not
worker,
true.
it wouldn't be particularly inspiring.
Yeah, it wouldn't be particularly inspiring, and it's fundamentally it's false. And here's why I say it's false. You as an entrepreneur, you as the shareholder, when do you get paid?
Last.
Way after everybody else. You get paid last.
Yeah.
So you realize that, we did a lot of thinking about companies and people and motivation, and we looked at that and said, no, here's what companies are about. Companies are first and foremost, we human beings got this desire to do good things for other human beings. We're social creatures. We want to get together in groups, do good things for other human beings. So companies, the way we do that what do companies do? I don't know. They make food, clothing, shelter, entertainment, medicine, you name it. They do just about everything we value. It's groups of people getting together for a purpose, to do things for a customer. That's the first and foremost. That's what it's for. Secondly, to do that, it's a team effort. The boss doesn't do it. The company, it's abstract idea of a corporation, doesn't do it. There's people who get up in the morning, they put their feet in the ground on a cold, crappy winter day when it's still dark, and they come into work faithfully, and they give the organization the best hours of their week. Okay. So the company is about those people and giving them an opportunity to serve, be part of something, and serve other human beings. But the employees all skip back, and they get paid. They're the first people to get paid, right? So a company is for the employees. Companies for the suppliers. So what do the suppliers do? All their people go to work, create good things, ship them to somebody, and then we pay them. We give them back part of the good things we get back. That's what a company's all about, right? And if and only if you make that work, the shareholders get paid, right? So you take that vision and you go, okay, within that, how do we make this work? And how do we make a place? Because I need people, if we're going to do this. And what we've done, both our organizations, 45 Drives and Protocase, we are seen as our leaders in our market space. So if you're an IT guy we sell to Apple, Intel, we sell to a bunch of NFL teams, we sell to every major government organization you think of. We're last count 60 of the top 100 US universities. So these people see us as leaders in what we do. Protocase side, same thing. You get scientists putting rockets up to Mars or something like that. First thing, if you're in Southern California putting up rockets, or Silicon Valley creating new magic, you think of Protocase, right? Only because of the human beings who come here and work. It's not because of me, and it's not because of Steve, my co-founder Steve. It is just because people come in and work. So we need to figure out how to create a great workplace for them. So that's the big difference. I diverted from, early on, it's about actually managing the details and creating then we moved into creating processes. And we did that, and we grew and grew and grew, and now I'm managing processes as opposed to managing details. Then we get to the next phase of it, like to get big, you just have to understand that it's about human beings. So creating the opportunity for our human beings to thrive, to want to get up in the morning, to want to come here. And, and by the time they leave, to make sure that they feel good, that they know that they're connected in, that somebody out there, somewhere, give an example of a customer, 45 Drives, Afghan Wireless, the wireless company in Afghanistan. Their storage is all done on computers built in Cape Breton, shipped there, configured from Cape Breton, and the system's administered in Cape Breton. So these people, somebody wants to make a phone call in Afghanistan, they use our computers. They pay for it. Money goes to that company. Part of it goes to us. Those people voluntarily chose to come from us. We are valuable to them. We are making a mark on their world. It's a little mark, and just a deep believer that we humans, when you figure it out in life, your happiness in life does not come from what you get out of life. Your happiness in life comes from what you put in. Yes, we expect to get back, but and we should get back, but it comes from what you put in, and that's what we give people the opportunity to see and be part of here. And it's magic. It's working like magic. So.
Okay, so what do you see next for Protocase 45 Drives? Everything's
great. Our sons and daughters growing up and coming out of school, and wonderful new wave of immigration coming in here. Wow, is this ever wonderful? And we have so many employees here now who are new Cape Bretoners and new Canadians, and I just absolutely love it. And it's refreshing. They bring a new vibe and everything else. So yeah, we got everything we want in this community to make our community go. So and proud to be part of it, Richard. And and really pleased to be able to share it with you here.
Super. Okay, well, listen, thanks so much for your time, Doug. I've been speaking with Doug Milburn, co-founder of Protocase and 45 Drives in Sydney, Nova Scotia, and we'll see you next time on Cape Breton Movers and Shakers.